This is what happens when you blindly trust someone at night in the middle of nowhere. A car drives down the deserted road at night with Amy and her husband David inside. The couple has recently suffered the loss of their little son Charlie, and this tragedy has created a rift between them, leading to their decision to separate. The couple chose to take a final trip together before parting ways. Suddenly, a raccoon shows up on the road, nearly causing David to lose control of the vehicle. He brushes it off and takes an unplanned shortcut. As Amy eats an apple, she and David have a heated argument. David attempts to ease the tension by mentioning their deceased son, but Amy quickly tells him to stop. Realizing they have lost their way, they try to ask a man for directions to Downey, their intended destination. They pull into a gas station only to find it empty. Out of nowhere, a mechanic appears, startling the couple. He tells David that the gas prices are higher than advertised. David explains that his car is acting up after the encounter with the raccoon and admits they are completely lost on their way to Downey. The mechanic reveals that Downey is actually 30 miles back in the opposite direction and goes on to assess and repair the engine. In the car, Amy sees a photo of Charlie and breaks down, revealing that she hasn't moved on with her life yet. Meanwhile, the mechanic expertly fixes the vehicle. David gives him some money for his assistance, and they begin their drive back to Downey. However, not long into their journey, the car stalls again, leaving the couple feeling frustrated. They try to work on the engine themselves, but quickly realize it's beyond their skill set. With no other choice, they decide to return to the gas station and seek help from the mechanic once more. After a long trek, they reach the gas station again, but can't find the mechanic. David spots a motel nearby and suggests they ask for assistance there. Upon entering the motel, they are taken aback by a piercing scream. Amy urges David to leave, but he ignores it and rings the bell. Soon Mason, the motel manager, emerges from his office and clarifies that the noise is just from a show on the television. David informs Mason that a mechanic who assisted them a little while ago with their car at the garage is no longer present. Mason replies that the mechanic has gone home and will return in the morning. David asks Mason if he can contact the mechanic because their car has broken down in the middle of the road. Mason expresses his desire to help, even though he can't reach the mechanic, and suggests they stay at his motel until the mechanic arrives the next day. With no alternatives available at such a late hour, David and Amy reluctantly agree to spend the night at Pinewood Motel. Mason gives them room number 4. As David and Amy head to their room, Mason enters his cabin, and the scream starts again, pointing that there is something off here. David and Amy enter their room, hoping to make it through the night and leave in the morning when the mechanic comes to fix their car. David attempts to get closer to Amy, but she is not in the mood, leaving him feeling down. Suddenly, there is a loud pounding on the door, startling both of them. When David opens the door, he finds no one there and shuts it again. Shortly after, the phone rings, but no one answers from the other side. At the same time, every door begins to be knocked on all at once, scaring the couple inside. David checks with Amy to see if any cars were parked there when they arrived. Amy looks out the window and spots only one truck, belonging to the manager. Suddenly, the door starts to shake violently, increasing their fear and anxiety. Amy rushes to use the phone to inform the manager about it, but the line is already dead. Annoyed, David heads to the manager to complain about the guest next door who keeps banging on the walls. Mason leaves David speechless with his response, stating that he and his wife are the only guests he has at the motel tonight. However, he reassures him, saying he will inspect himself. With this assurance, David leaves. Mason grabs his pistol, ready to take someone down. David returns to his room and calms Amy down by saying that it may be some intoxicated folks, and the manager is going to kick them out. However, Amy doesn't buy it, and forces David to leave the motel and go back to their car, but David isn't ready to leave so late at night. He switches on the television, but every channel is just static. David discovers some tapes on the TV and decides to watch them. As one of the tapes begins to play, David and Amy are struck with terror when they see a snuff killing unfold on the screen. He keeps switching the tapes, but the narrative doesn't change. David soon realizes that the room in the video looks exactly like the one they are currently in. He quickly informs Amy about it, and they both look alarmed. David inspects the room and uncovers several hidden cameras in the walls. Amy changes the tape, but finds nothing new. All she sees is another snuff killing taking place in the same room with her and David. Suddenly, the power goes out, plunging them into darkness, and simultaneously the walls and doors start to be violently pounded. At that moment, a tall masked figure lurks in the bathroom, completely unnoticed by the couple. Soon the power comes back. David tells Amy that whoever is outside has come to know that they have watched the video and they are not going to let them get away so easily. As they look for an escape, the pair comes across the half-eaten apple that Amy had in the car. Seeing it, they utterly got scared. David quietly opened the door and ran toward their car with Amy. Soon, several masked men appear out of nowhere and corner the couple, forcing them to dart back to the motel room in fear. David continues to grip the door tightly, preventing the masked men from breaking in. He asks Amy to go and try to force open the bathroom window. Amy rushes to the bathroom and does her best to break the window, but is freaked out by a masked man lurking outside. Suddenly, the banging on the door stops, relieving the frightened couple inside. David, seizing the chance, starts looking for a way out but can't find any, so he decides to put his life on the line by going out to the payphone to inform the police about it. According to the plan, Amy keeps the masked men distracted until David returns. David successfully gets to the payphone and dials the police. But to his surprise, it's not an officer on the line, but the Mason instead. Suddenly, a car appears out of nowhere and rams into the payphone booth, nearly taking David's life in the collision. David runs for his life and barely makes it to the motel room. The frightened couple begins looking for a weapon to protect themselves. David shatters the mirror, seizes a shard, and crouches in a corner with Amy, unaware that they are being hunted by Mason, the architect of this chaos. Through his cabin, Mason kept watching the terrified couple. In a low voice, David tells Amy that they are being watched and listened to. David closely watches the tape and notices that the masked men broke into the room through the bathroom, and that's where the apple came from. He hurries over to the bathroom and uncovers a trapdoor in the floor. He lifts the lid only to find a tunnel down there, immediately realizing that the masked man may have been breaking into the room through this very tunnel. That's when they spot a truck outside. A truck driver steps out, and the duo thinks of seeking help from him. So David and Amy starts pounding on the door, grabbing the truck driver's attention immediately. A couple of masked men appear behind him while the duo tries to warn him, but the truck driver can't hear them. Soon the truck driver is turned out to be one of them. He takes the tapes and leaves. Scared, David and Amy slipped into the tunnel and start crawling to the exit. On the way, they find a horde of freaking rats. David asks Amy not to scream and just keep moving. They finally make it to the exit and reach Mason's cabin, from where he has been keeping an eye on his victims. David and Amy begin searching for something very useful and stumble upon a telephone. Amy dials 911 and informs the officer about the Pinewood Motel where they are trapped and some freaking killers are trying to kill them. Meanwhile, Mason and a masked man bust into the office, but the couple already had escaped. Mason hears the officer on the phone, quickly realizing that they have been reported to the police. He orders his masked men to go and find the couple straightway. Several masked men rush into the tunnel to hunt for the couple, but before they can reach them, David and Amy safely escape the tunnel. David flips a large box onto the trapdoor so the masked man can't break into the storage room. The poor couple finds themselves trapped in the motel, realizing their awful mistake. For a while, they completely forgot that they had decided to part ways. Meanwhile, they hear a police car outside the room, only to find a cop interrogating Mason. David says that the cop could be one of them, like the truck driver. With this fear, the duo doesn't dare to come out. The police officer interrogates Mason, telling him that he traced a call from his motel and wants to search his place. Mason doesn't mind it and lets the cop do his duty. Mason tells the officer that he has forgotten the key to the room, so he leaves to fetch it. However, when the officer checks the door, it is already unlocked, increasing his suspicion. The officer steps into the room only to find it in complete disarray, with the TV screen shattered and a trapdoor wide open. Meanwhile, in the storage room, one of the masked men tries to break into the room while David and Amy continue to press the box against the trapdoor. The police officer moves deeper and discovers a snuff killing on the TV. He becomes frightened and exits the room with his gun drawn. Upon realizing the officer is genuine, David and Amy hurry to his side in a state of panic. The officer instructs them to get in the car right away. He attempts to turn on the ignition, but it fails to start as the wires have already been cut. Stepping out, he goes to inspect the engine, only to find that the battery wires have met the same fate. Soon he is brutally killed by one of the masked men. The frightened couple decides to flee back to their motel room and slam the door shut just in time. The maniac masked men try to break into the room from all sides, sending David and Amy into a state of panic. David breaks the bathroom window, creating a plan to fool the manager and his masked men. He rips a strip of fabric from Amy's shirt and drapes it over the broken glass to divert Mason's attention. He then helps Amy into the attic while he deals with the killers downstairs. He tells Amy that he is going to Mason's office to get his gun because he had spotted one of them before they arrived there. Until then, she has to stay hidden and silent. Just as David opens the door, he is attacked and stabbed by one of the masked men who is lying in wait outside. Amy can do nothing but watch as her husband is maimed right before her eyes from the attic. Mason arrives in the room with a video camera, recording a video of David's killing. Afterward, he starts looking for Amy and spots a rag of her clothing on the shard, suspecting that she has escaped. It becomes morning, and Amy wakes up. She notices that there is no one in the room, so she comes downstairs. Just then, a masked man suddenly appears, causing Amy to run away. She climbs into a car and starts it. The masked man also lunges at the car, almost getting inside. With no other choice, Amy rams the car into the motel, killing both masked men. She notices that one of the masked men was the mechanic who helped them with their car the previous night. Upon hearing the crash, Mason hurried outside and discovered that his men had been killed. Meanwhile, Amy manages to break into Mason's office and grabs a hammer. She tries to reach for Mason's gun, but just then Mason bursts in and catches her, and tries to choke her with the telephone wire. He beats her black and blue and starts recording a video of her killing as well. Here it is revealed that Mason has been making videos of his victims and selling them at high prices, which is why he has become so wealthy. During the brawl, Amy manages to finally get Mason's gun and shoots him on the spot, killing him instantly. After this, she rushes to David and checks on him, only to find him savagely wounded. Amy returns to Mason's office and dials 911, informing the officer about her exact location, and saying that she and her husband have been attacked by a couple of maniac killers at Pinewood Motel. After that, she runs back to David, who is lying wounded. She kisses him as if she has given up on her plan to abandon him.